let me say that I'm really thankful you're here. I want to remind you about how we started this. In October, we contracted with Grace Suzuki to lead us in an exercise of looking in the future to Old First. Where are our hopes and where are some of our challenges and some fears? And it was an astounding list you came up with. It's been in the bulletin a couple times. You were just honest, and what you really did is you just stated it without trying to fix it or add to someone else's. It was just a time to express basically hopes and fears. And then your session, the elders, met with Grace as a part of our Zoom meetings for about 3 different times, just to kind of focus us on what we heard and understood what was being said. And then we had an officers retreat, which was elders and deacons. It's the first time we've met together maybe since COVID. And so we met at our sister church, St. Luke's Episcopal, said, come use our space. And Grace met with us again. And we did a process where one thing we did is we walked in the neighborhood. The elders and deacons went out in pairs and threes and went and looked in the neighborhood, going up a block and walking that way, walking down. Harriet?
I don't want you to say that. You encouraged, I always want to say something quietly. You encouraged us to talk to people and ask them if they know where Old First is. And Alan, right there, was sitting outside that cafe down there, and well, there's a person, right? So I asked him, and he said, yes, I go to concerts there. I know your pastor. There's a food pantry. What can I say? It was a great retreat.
Yeah, so here I was kind of amazed. I actually had them go talk to people, and she talked to Alan. Thank you, Alan, because you made me look much more brilliant. And that a lot of the neighbors we know, we are church to or friendly to, and don't know. I had some friends in town, and I took them to Tipachera, which is down the way. And I think through the years I've done kind of helped shape 3 different memorials of people who have died there, and they want to remember them, but they also want to use someone who knows how to make it more than just happy hour. And it's been an interesting piece, and though we may never see those people in pews, but often we do. We do that kind of function too. But thank you, Harriet, for reminding me of that. And so what we did in that process was we took the information that came out of the first town hall meeting, some clarification that had been going on when the session was meeting. We also shared the True North work that has been kind of a way to do some visioning and planning that Lori and Tom and Steve have been working on, shared some of that information. And that's the group that helped us do kind of the tagline for us, being God's love, justice, and welcome on the corner, on the city and the world. That came out of that North Pillar group, that's the North Star, North Pillar Foundation. And so what Grace had us do is kind of take all those ideas and write them down and try to figure out where they go under categories of welcome, justice, and love, to see if they kind of fit our it's not a vision, our kind of statement of who we're trying to be, which is kind of hard because you have to focus it. And so we got those focused and saw where they were, and then every elder and deacon got a couple of sticky notes to vote which ones they had some energy for, where do they think God might be leading us, which was hard for our group because they could only vote on 2, didn't always like that, and actually did that. And found that a couple of ones got a lot of stickers. One of them was looking at welcome and hospitality and kind of getting some in-depth conversations. You're going to hear more about that. The other one that got a lot of stickers was dealing with senior issues, and especially the Doctor's Daughters Fund. And for some of you may know, the Doctor's Daughters Fund is an endowment that puts out about $12,000 interest a year, and it's supposed to be used for poor and elderly. And we use
Senior. Poor and elderly senior.
yeah, in my mind I said that, but a lot of times I say things in my mind and they never come out. Seniors, thank you, Steve. And it used to run our senior center, but we haven't had that anymore. The need had changed in 40 years. And so the group of trying to look at what do we do with some of those monies. So then we broke people into groups, and they had to come out with a plan of how to do something around that issue by the end of the year. 2 simple projects. Now I want to tell you, it was so hard for this group to focus on narrowing it down. We love to ask questions. So we'd be asking about the state of the church and what's happening in the future and all these kind of things. And Grace kind of made us say, we're going to work on these particular issues and see if we can come out with 2 projects. And so what I'm going to give you is I'm going to have the people talk about the first stages of this, of these 2 projects. In your groups, I want you to just talk a little bit about it, ask some clarifying questions. We're not going to come out with plans today. The elders and deacons are going to take what they hear in these meetings, we're going to refine them and present them to you in the next couple weeks. So we just want to share with you where we are. And I will also say, keep your ears alert. There's one more thing that's going to be happening. You're going to start hearing about a capital campaign fund. We're not voted on it yet, but just so you know what's happening. Lori, is it okay if I say this, or do you want to? Yeah, please, Maggie, you talk. So just to keep a whisper of that, we've got some people that are going to work on that. They're going to ask for volunteers more. We also have a group that needs to do some 175th anniversary planning to do some events. That's why we're doing a capital campaign. In May is our 175th year. There's a word for that. What's that, 75? Someone actually knows it. Can you say it? Anyone know how to say it?
Where's Chris? He learned it.
He learned the word, the 170th anniversary. It's a pretty complicated word. Chris, can you say it?
No.
Chris once knew it, forgot it, and so have I. So I want to just have the first group that want to work with kind of community and congregational life. Will someone come up and give a report on that?
The focus of the community discussion is starting with exactly what we're doing here today, getting together and talking with each other and being in community. And as the year goes on, this one today, then there will be one in May, in July, in September, and possibly October, November, December. And just continuing, we think back the years pre-COVID when we had lunches and get-togethers, and we're doing it again, and this is a great start. Thank you all. Let's see, the that's just briefly because we're already doing this. This is good. The other part of it about being community was about small groups, and I'm in one and have been for about 35 years. Small groups are gatherings of small groups of fellow members. You pick, the group will pick what they want to read and discuss, and that's what we've done for years. My group right now is reading and discussing a book by David Brooks, who's a NPR, New York Times person, wonderful writer, and we're enjoying that. But the group, and anybody interested in becoming part of a new group, this is what we want to do, is form a new group. Let me know, and we'll get the ball rolling on that. And someone will meet with you and with help with setup and so on. The other one I happen to belong to, and a few of us there, Betty and Linda and Gabby and me, we're down to us, the Presbyterian Women Group. This is a women thing, and all women are welcome. Our current booklet is from Presbyterian Church USA. Comes from the church, and this is Sacred Encounters. So they set up the women pastors and other leaders write these things each year, and they're really, really valuable discussions. And that's on Zoom also. All of it's Zoom, what we're doing now. So we Zoom on the third Saturday of every month. We Zoomed yesterday at 1 o'clock. So any women interested, let me know.
Harriet, did you want to add anything to this? Right, just to be clear, that group had 2 agendas. They were going to have 3 different community meals, help plan them, and that they will have in-depth content to them. It's not just about food. Partly they were hearing that there's a sense of loneliness and a sense of wanting some depth that was not in other places, and starting a new group. Mary gave some ways you can join in, but those were the 2 specifics to be done by the end of the year. Now the senior group.
Get this a little higher for me. Guys, there were only 4 of us who met for ministry to seniors, figuring out how best to use not just the Doctor's Daughters Fund, but the Anna Seligen Fund has also got a major chunk of it devoted to seniors. The Anna Seligen Fund does not reduce it to just low-income and indigent seniors, but seniors at large. If any of you are at all interested in senior ministry, we would really appreciate 1 or 2 members from the congregation to join us 4. The 4 of us that met on the March 23rd were Michael Berg, Chris Bird, Emily Olson, and me. And we were discussing putting together a task force to find the best uses for the Doctor's Daughters Fund and which is more restricted, and the Anna Seligen Fund. At that meeting and a brief Zoom meeting we had this week, we tossed out just a few preliminary ideas for projects, and we were thinking about projects both within our own congregation and projects in the community that serve seniors. And we tossed out a whole bunch of ideas. We haven't fixed on anything.
Good. Sarah, I don't even want you to share those today.
Okay, great. But there seems to be the idea of possibly some stuff within our congregation, and we're looking for some new ideas. And even if you don't want to join the committee, we would really, really appreciate receiving ideas. So we did decide that we're going to meet for monthly at the beginning of the week and the beginning of the month, and we are going to present our final ideas and proposal to the session in late October. So that's as far as we've got.
So you understand the focus of that is, 1, to be good stewards with some monies we already have that we've just not been paying attention. Figure out what's there, how can we use it, and come up with a plan to start some kind of way of using it by the end of the year. Harriet, did you?
Yeah, I do, actually. Can't resist a microphone.
Great.
No, I wanted to just take a step back and say that many of you have been here for decades, like I have, and you've been through a number of goal setting and retreats and task forces and committees, and we come up with goals. But what's different now and what really is exciting is that we are narrowing down which goals are our top priority, and then goals are supposed to be big and vague and really out there, like, are we going to be, thank you, are we going to be able to achieve this? But then you always set objectives of concrete steps that can be measured and that have a timeline, and that's what we're doing now, and I don't remember ever doing that before. So I want to be clear that these things that are happening we're gonna report back about them by December, January at the latest, because the deadline is to have a plan or not, but at least then we move on, okay?
And what Harriet's saying in a much more eloquent way is we're practicing. If we can learn how to see two things where we have some passion and follow them through, then we're going to be able to make other choices and other decisions. So it's a learning time. So what I would like you to do is talk within your group. If you can get a sense of if any of these give you energy, if you go, huh? Or someone's really saying, I want to take a part in that, at least what I'm hearing right now. So I'm going to let you talk amongst yourselves for a bit. Talk. Harriet, can you come here and say that 171st word? You found it on the 171st anniversary. It has like 15 letters. Well, she looked it up. We're never going to say it again, but I just want you to see that we've done it once. Well, I'm never going to say it. Harriet?
I'm gonna read the entry. Turquoise, wait a minute. Turquoise Centennial, TERQUISQICENTENNIAL, a coined word for an anniversary of 175 years. You just have to look it up on Google. But the elements of the word literally refer to an anniversary of 375 years as follows. Ter, 3, quasqui, 1 1/4, centennial, 100. Septa quinta quinque centennial, suggested by lexicographer. Okay, now here's the other option. Just call it tricentennial. That doesn't sound right,
No,
does
it's half
it?
of that.
No, we're going to have to go with
Media.
quarto centennial. Quarto centennial.
Anyway, just to show that we tried. 175th anniversary starts in May. We're going to celebrate it for a year. Probably the biggest part of it will be in the fall, so we have lots of time to plan. Just to know that on the piano I have a sheet. If you'd like to be part of that planning group, or what if they call them groups now, or teams, we don't use the word committee. If you'd like to be part of that team, it's short term and will be ended, so that could be kind of exciting, just to put that. I wonder if you've had elders list and deacons listening at your tables, taking some notes, getting some refining. We're hoping that we'll come back to you with plans. Is there anything that you want to come up and share here? And I want to say come up because for other people have the opportunity to hear this that can't be here. Anyone that want to come up? Understandable.
We were sort of batting around ideas for senior work. Am I in the right distance?
I'm writing it.
We decided Kirsten suggested that one of the most important things for many seniors, particularly shut-ins, is music. And we often go Christmas caroling, but why don't we go September caroling? Or January caroling, and we sing old hymns or stuff like that. So we get a group of people who go visit just to sing hymns, and it would be fun for the people doing it, and it would be we could start with people in the church that are shut in, but we could find others that would be I think it'd be a really cool idea that we just have a hymn singing visit. With various people around. So that was one idea. And then Steve's talked, what's the name of those groups you called, Steve, the larger groups? A village movement.
San Francisco Village.
And there's these movements already that sort of provide services for seniors around the city called villages. And they have staff and resources for seniors, and apparently seniors join these groups. But Steve suggested that we, instead of reinventing the wheel and doing that ourselves, that we affiliate with one of these groups and be a satellite of it.
Or create a new group within the structure.
Yeah, kind of a satellite new group within the structure of the already existing that has staff and people like that. And they could use our facilities, but they could have meetings here, but we could also be recruiting tool. And we also provide scholarships for people who can't afford to be part of it from the Doctor's Daughters. So those are the two senior things. And then we also batted around some ideas for small groups. Personally, when they say, we're going to start a new small group, why don't you join? It's like, well, okay, what does that mean? But I've always thought, Kirsten came up with the idea of a small group, it's called an affinity group, that we start a couple of groups that have something in common. And we talked years ago, Maggie, about having a LGBT group. So we could start an LGBT group to discuss a gay Christian group, that we could talk about what it means to be gay and Christian and stuff like that. Or we could have a young mothers group, or we could have we could even have a senior group for that. We talked about having a prostate cancer group. We have many of those people. But it would give us a topic and things to look for, and I would join a prostate cancer group. I wouldn't join necessarily that says, come join a group, we'll talk about something. So, anyway, those are three ideas in our team. We were very productive, I thought.
Now 5 or 6.
So the beauty of that was some specificity. Good point. The Village is a group that tries to keep seniors in their homes or in their apartments, just to be aware of that's what they are. Right, Jim?
Anyway, I'm Mike Berg. I'm the treasurer here and longtime member of Old First, and it's so great to have everyone here today. I was just going to point out that the group that we're talking about that's trying to find uses for these funds is looking for a couple more members from the general congregation. So if any of you would like to join us, it's a very simple commitment. We're going to be meeting once a month. And if any of you have ideas that you'd like to share, you can send them to Sarah, who will be compiling them for our group. So that would be good. She's already got a list of ideas started here. So
Sarah@sstabor.com.
all right, sstabor.com, there you go. In response to what was said about the use of the funds, my particular idea, it's just one of many, is that we need to build up our own congregation. Think of the people that are not coming anymore and that are institutionalized or in retirement homes. We can't let those people just fall away from the congregation. And I think it's been very difficult for the deacons, who are fewer and fewer in number, to have enough time and bandwidth to get that whole job done. So one of the recommendations I'm making to this senior task force is if we think about ways to increase the strength of our own community with this money. I'm not necessarily looking for ways to give that money away to others, even though the need may be big. I just feel that now's the time to focus on our congregation and the strength of our people, because if we grow stronger as a group, then we'll be better able to get out into the world and be more helpful.
I'm Lori Yamuchi, and I happen to be clerk of session right now. But I wanted to just add on to what Mary and Maggie said about this initiative for more congregational gatherings. It's not just an opportunity to get together and chat about anything and everything. It's an opportunity to get to know one another in deeper ways and to help practice deep conversations. And so that we can engage in deeper conversations, not just with each other, but with those around us. And that's part of spiritual development and faith formation, as well as part of our ministry as people of faith. So the congregational gatherings would be an opportunity for us to talk about questions like Maggie put on the tables today, that might spur some deeper conversations about our lived experience, our perspectives, our opinions, and also curiosity. And so that's part of the whole purpose of having these gatherings, more than just socializing, which is important, but not, I think it's not the be-all, end-all of our time together.
Potluck next time.
Oh, yeah, and
So the next gathering will be on May 5th, 2 weeks from now. It will be a potluck. It will be a pre-175th anniversary, which happens to be on May 19th. But Maggie's gonna be on, so we're not gonna have it on that Sunday. And it's a pre-Mother's Day event, so the deacons hope to invite folks to bring dishes to be enjoying as part of that congregational gathering, May 5th.
There's the mayor leaving the room.
Oh, where am I going? My clergy group is going to Ireland this year. One of our members grew up in Northern Ireland and has planned a week for us there. The interesting thing is both her mother and father were police people during the Troubles. So she brings a really different view, and then because I'm over there, I'll stay for a little bit of time more, but that's where I'll be then. Any other tables want to share? I mean, we got plenty of time to do this, so you've had people who have taken minutes. Anything else you'd like to share? We're hoping that your elders will come up with some specifics. What we got to be so careful about ourselves is figure out one thing we can do. We want to pick something. We may have a plethora, but we're going to try to do something. Anything else you want to share? Let's go with God. Thank you for coming.